Yep.
All right, what's up, guys? It is Thursday night. It is middle of the Orioles Guardians game. Still want to call them the Indians. Got Giants 49ers. We're going to switch up the form of this podcast. Last week, we went through all the games. We missed the Giants Cardinals game. Justin texted me afterwards. Meanwhile, that turns out to be the best game. So I thought what was going to be better this go around for everybody listening is for us to go over some of the picks that we actually have. So, I mean, we're all going to bet. Or I should say we're all going to bet. You guys are definitely going to bet. I'm really not betting these games. I get like tempted every time I'm talking to you guys. Maybe I stick $20 on a parlay, but my focus, and I use this as like my, way to remind myself, no NFL bets till the playoffs. Got to see everything play out. I'll get too emotional. But with that being said, I have one game that I feel like is the easiest game, one to throw at you guys, see what you think. The Dolphins are playing the was it Dolphins playing the Broncos. It's 5.5, then it went to 6.5. I love the Dolphins. It feels like my favorite game of the week. And before you give me your take on it, my favorite game last week was the Raiders. And this is how I feel about probably all the games. It's like there's always when I lose, granted when I lose, right? It's always one or two plays where I'm like, I swear, if that one play didn't happen, the entire game would have gone different. Raiders are winning 7-0, first drive. Bills go 3 and out. Raiders get the ball back. Then they throw an interception. Then everything Michael's saying is playing out in my head, or it's like, all right, Buffalo's going to score fast. And then that's going to be the end of that. So with that in mind, Raiders game goes the wrong way. But my favorite game this week's the Dolphins. I'm not even going to give you my reasons because I just hate the Broncos. I love the Dolphins. I could talk about it forever. Michael, what do you think? Dolphins, Broncos?
Yeah. I think obviously first reaction is Denver 0-2, lost 2 home games. This team's terrible. Miami, this offense with McDaniel is firing on all cylinders. I think,
Here
I
comes the
think my,
butt.
yeah, I think my Denver, I will say, is just the contrarian side. 0-2, there's a little bit of desperation, but I can't get to the window with Denver. I would lean Miami, but don't love the game. It's just one of those kind of stay away from me.
Little too easy. Justin, what about you?
Yeah, since we have to pick every game in the book, I'm actually gonna take Denver. I Before the year, I still like Miami. I have a future on Miami division. I went under on the Broncos win
What the
total.
hell am I missing?
It's just one of those times, one of those just spots where I just like Denver getting 6.5. Like Michael said, it's a contrarian. They might not have Waddle on Miami's side. I think Denver, maybe no pressure. They're not at home. They're a dog. It's gonna be 6.5. Maybe it gets to 7. I'm gonna take Denver. Just I feel like this game is like a close game, so I'm taking the
So,
points.
so Michael, I wanted to start with you because you said last week, and you were right about your Niners Bills game, and you needed the teaser for the Niners because McVay had to cover the spread at the end. So that was your favorite 6 point, 7 point teaser. I guess based on what you're saying is you don't even want to put the Dolphins in this teaser. You could see the Broncos winning the game, just don't love the spot. What would be, we don't have to keep harping on that game, but what do you want to, if you had to give out a teaser, or what are you looking at that jumps out on the board? Start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you setting this up for me. So first and foremost, for teasers, I would say I don't even look at teasing teams. I'm literally just teasing a number in a situation. So I'm sure Justin, I've said talked to you to this ad nauseum, but the Wong teaser is a very popular, just mathematically kind of shown way to have be a plus EV bet that you can make over the long term. You might lose this week, this month, this year, but over the long run, you should be profitable. So the whole idea is taking a team from anywhere. Let's start with teasing them up. You take an underdog from +1.5 to +2.5, get them over. The whole point is to go through 2 key numbers, 3 and 7. You get a 2.5 spread, get that up to 8.5. You're in the good zone. Conversely, if you like a favorite, I'll only take 8.5 or 7. That's the window. Take it down under a field goal. You can match that up any which way you like. Fortunately enough for us this week, there are 5 teams that fall into that. Before I get to it, the one last thing I do want to say, the lower the total, is in that game does make a difference, especially if you're teasing the underdog up. For example, New Orleans is plus 1.5. That totals about 42. Every extra point you're getting is more valuable compared to teasing, say, the Charger Viking game, which is 54. Could be the blow, just a lot more points, more variance. So that's kind of my long-winded spiel for teasers.
No, much appreciated. So once you do that, you identify the teasers that you're willing to even consider. Now, are you
Exactly.
blindly betting them, or then do you analyze the games?
Yeah, so then from there, I'm not just blindly throwing it on the wall. Then I'll say, hey, does this situation look good? So hey, I mean, we can just go through it right now.
Go through it. What do you got?
The Ravens are one of them. Don't love us for the spot. I know we might talk about the game later, but I'll just say we came off a huge emotional win against the Bengals. We get a division game next week. We have a division game after that. We kind of know we could just kind of show up. Should still win the game. Find a tease down. I'm fine for it, but for me, I have 4 other options to choose from. The Jets are one.
Hold on one second.
Go ahead.
To be clear, the tease, when you say the tease, are you referring to 6 point, 6.5, 7 point, or all of them?
Exactly. Great clarification. 6.2 team teaser, no more than minus 120. Ideally, your books give you minus 1. Ideally, your books give you minus 110, 115. But the higher you go, I was talking about at the beginning, that mathematical, smart people figured it out. The higher juice you pay, the less profitable, obviously, it's going to be.
Got it. So second game we're looking at?
I was just going to skip over Jets plus 2.5. Zach Wilson, no thank you. Saints, I think, are in a really good spot. I mentioned it, low total. Take them over a touchdown. I'll take the Saints. Jacksonville at 8.5 is a gift, in my opinion. I think Houston and Jacksonville are just polar opposites. Jacksonville played a tough KC team. Houston's just getting all these garbage points. So I love Jacksonville there. Pittsburgh is the last team. Get them up to 8.5. Low total. Not a huge opinion there. I think I'll touch on that game a little bit later, but
So
any combination there.
Justin, what's your take on what do you call it? The wall? You don't call it.
Yeah, you've
Well,
WONG. Some dude literally published it. Whatever. There's Google it. It's way out there.
I like it. All right, Justin, what do you think? And
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it's called or whatever. But Michael has gone over this with me a lot. Even like I did teasers a lot, and so even before he gave me his spiel about that, I was doing teasers, mostly going through those numbers and like I kind of understand how it all works. But since he's told that to me, I've kind of put that in my head that I should stick mostly to those games. And I was going to mention things I like are teasing the Ravens with a lot of these different teams this week. So like,
what's your favorite game?
well, I don't know if you guys have heard updates about Burrow's status. I haven't seen one way or the other, but my first one was going to be Ravens-Rams. Getting the Rams, it's up to 3. But it was 2.5. So I was going to do Ravens down to 2 and Rams up to 8.5.
Regardless if he plays or not?
Yeah.
I'll get it in and hope he doesn't play. Even if he does play, getting 8.5 or 9 with the Rams is pretty good. The Bills maybe is another one. They just have to win the game, go down from 6.5 to a half. Do that with the Ravens. And then even though it's a high total, I'm probably going to do the Chargers in a teaser since it went to Vikings minus 1.5. Get them over a touchdown. I'm also going to pair that with the Ravens. The Ravens are my favorite part of it.
What have you gotten wrong? So the first 2 weeks are over with. Are you willing to say that any preseason takes that you had are just off? Or
yes, I like the Chargers, and I should have realized that Staley's their coach, and they're doing Charger things already early in the season. Not that they've gotten blown out or anything, but they could have easily won their 2 games and they lost. So I feel bad for any Chargers fans. They're kind of in a bad spot.
So you like?
I don't think I've been too right about them so far.
But you do like the Chargers getting 7.5.
Yeah, in a tease this week, I do like the Chargers. That game itself, it's really a toss-up. Whoever loses that game is pretty much done.
So you guys, if I said, hey, we got $10,000, we got to bet it all on one bet for NFL Sunday, you'd be more comfortable doing a 2-team 6-point teaser than just a 1 game?
I'll definitely say yes as long as I like the sides. I think the math turns out to each individual event, like that plus 8.5 for Pittsburgh or whatever, has to hit at a 73% rate, whatever that is. I'm very comfortable with doing that. It's done well for me over the years. So tried and true method.
Versus
And it's done well for me
there,
too, and I do them a lot. But I really don't know which way I would go. Rather do one play on one team straight up or a teaser. And like Michael said,
yeah,
the Steelers is another good one this week, I think.
every week's different. I just want to make 2 extra points before we beat this into the ground. The reason the numbers matter is they're key numbers. So, for example, the Buffalo game is only 6.5. The reason that it's not 7 is telling me the win probability for Buffalo is not as strong. Even if I might like them, at least the market or what Vegas is saying, for the fact that it's not at 7 is enough for me to say, hey, I don't need to tease this. If I like it, maybe money line parlay, kind of find another way. The last thing I'm going to say, it's actually, so most of the times in sports betting, you want to get ahead of the number. You want to bet early to beat the closing line value. I think in teasers, it's actually the opposite. The later in the week you wait, the more information is going to be baked into that number and the more efficient of a line that's going to be. So, like to your point, the Rams, who knows who's playing? By Sunday or Monday, if it was a 1 o'clock game, you would know that at 11:30 and can, make your call.
I simply I don't have the math in my head, but I simply like the idea of the teasers because I don't know if people listening feel this way, but I'll watch games and I'm like, why are they always right at this number? And
Exactly.
it feels like they're so close all the time. So it's an interesting approach. I also think, last time we talked, and one of the main points I like to drive home is anybody that has too strong of an opinion in this business is always like a red flag, because these games, as we said before, Justin won last year at like 58%. Especially when you lose, but even when you win, because I coached high school basketball and it's not high enough level where I'm comparing it to professionals, but I can't tell you how many times, after a game, and anybody that plays any sport, you can just play a game to 11, in the backyard, and you're like, if one or two things just went differently, and when the talent is equal, like it is at this level, right? It's so hard to make it to the professional level that when we're betting on these games, the teaser gives you that grace where it's like, hey, listen, a lot of crazy things happen. So I may as well get an extra 6 points one way or the other from what the odds makers think. And I think that's interesting. I actually didn't even know we are going to spend time on teasers. What about, let me ask you this before, like you said, we're beaten to the ground with the teasers, but there is one other way to do it. Would you do 3-team 10-point teasers? I know that the site that I've used before, that's what I'm sure you can do all kinds of things, but just to clarify, you guys, or at least Mike, your main point is and maybe you'll get me some information on it. I know you say you're going to do some writing. Maybe actually, you know what? Forget. Let's talk about something else. One of the things that we're going to add, I'll give me a chance to talk about it now, is Michael. I'll just say it for him. He's a really, really good writer. He'll bet on the games. Justin bets on the games. And what we decided to do is we're going to add, if you guys like something, just put it out there, right? Because we do a lot of talking throughout the week. There's something that comes up, but also just content. And this is perfect. Even if we're just linking people to different sites so they can read for themselves, because I think that people are going to be more successful betting on sports in the next, 50 years than they were in the first couple hundred years doing it. It's just technology's improved, information's improved. So as long as you're willing to do some work, and this is great. So that's something. Let's move to the Ravens. Both of you, I want to spend a few minutes on the Ravens from a gambling standpoint first, and then anything you guys wanted to add from a gambling standpoint. Obviously, we've covered both games. It's 8.5 this week. Michael, you kind of touched on it for a second. My main takeaway was really the same thing. I really see us, I would be surprised if we struggled, but at the same time, 8.5 seems like a lot. So go ahead, Justin. What do you think? How's this game play out? How would you bet on it? Anything you think?
So yeah, I've already gone over. I do like us in 1, 2, 3 teasers, however many you're comfortable with doing, to get it from 8 down to 2. So we just had to win by a field goal or more. But another side I'm kind of starting to like is actually our team total over.
What's that number?
I think it's around 26 and a half. And it's maybe supposed to rain here on Sunday, which for whatever reason, most people these days think it's a good thing for the under. But I think it's the opposite. It's really hard for defenders to stop in their tracks, make tackles, go side to side, be agile. So I think it really actually is an advantage to the offense. And I think the Colts might struggle to contain Flowers and a couple other of our receivers, and then Lamar and our running backs in space. I think we can get big chunk plays a lot, and I see us scoring a lot on Sunday. And on the flip side, I kind of think I'd rather it be Richardson than Minshew, even though I don't think Richards is going to play. I don't think rookie quarterbacks have fared well against us. We have a lot of speed on our defense. I don't think he'd be able to create plays like he can. And Minshew's kind of more experienced and has a better arm.
Is that how the
from a
Colts,
personal standpoint, I kind of would rather see Richardson.
is that how the Colts win? I guess is that how you attack the Ravens at this point? I wouldn't even run the ball up the middle against us, especially without
Right.
Taylor. You spread us out. I didn't think Cincinnati. I don't know what the hell they were doing.
I don't know what they were doing either.
Right?
Been four games in a row. They're just like dink and dunk underneath, and I don't know. We look at Burrow's quarterback rating the last four against us, like 81, 82, 83, 84.
We figured them
Is
out.
that
It's pretty clear when we have at least a somewhat healthy secondary, we can stop them. That one time we were down like 5 corners. Congratulations, you threw 500 yards. But-
How many times can the Colts, like, we say anything can happen, like that Raiders Bills game? If I'm being, even if Garoppolo doesn't throw the interception, well, that's really early in the game, so that is a stretch for me. How do the Ravens lose? Like, what is it? Turnovers for us?
I'll give
Give me the bad picture from a Colts perspective.
I'll give the other perspective real quick, just because I think I touched on it a little bit ago. Disagreed with you guys last week. I took Indy against Houston. They were in control of that game all day long. I know it's just Houston, but got up big, had an easy win. And even week 1 against Jacksonville, I think they were winning in the fourth quarter until maybe a pick 6 turnover or something. They clearly had a chance to at least cover.
It was close most of the game.
Kept it close. I keep blanking on the Colts' new coach, Steichen something. He is light years ahead of the league. He came from Philadelphia, did all these amazing things with Hurts, and it's transitioning to Richardson and this offense. Their tempo is unbelievable. I think they run the most plays in the league. They're going to get up to the line. Their skill players are not horrendous. I mean, nothing to go home about, but it's just, again, I alluded to last week, their win total is 6.5. This team has upside. I could, with Richardson, Minshew, obviously a little bit more floored, but I'm going to be back in Indianapolis a lot the second half of the season. I think they're going to be a bet on team that's kind of this young, up and coming, just fun scoring and, just bad division. I think they're live in a weird way. Didn't think I would think this two weeks into the season, but.
What was the worst? Only reason I'm harping on negatives is because everybody that does Ravens content, I feel like sucks up and Orioles content. It's like, I can't listen to. I want to hear the raw stuff. And as a coach, you're always looking to improve. So, and I'm always, just big picture in mind. You don't play your best football for another 4 months anyway. So, what was your main takeaway before I give you guys mine? Start with you, Justin. Like, what was your main takeaway? Negatively, like, hey, we got to work on this, we got to clean this up coming out of Cincinnati.
I mean, Lamar, we probably got lucky on, I don't know if you remember I'm sure you remember the play when he fumbled. He was being a little too careless and loose with the ball, and
Right.
they caught a hands to the face on their defensive lineman. Fortunately for us, it didn't create the turnover that happened. So that's definitely something he's gonna have to clean up when he's standing back in the pocket and people are swiping at him and he's starting to make his move. He's got to be more secure with the ball, which I think we did see later in the game when he was scrambling a bunch and trying to milk out the clock. So that's something he's got to improve. We got to improve. And then, for some reason, our special teams is usually really good, but last week that was a struggle. The punt return we let up was terrible. Obviously, Tucker's not going to make every kick, but he missed a kick. We haven't made any special flashy plays on returns. So I think special teams, it'll get there. But those are really the only 2 things I can think of. The defense was really good. They held Cincy to 17 points. And Burrow struggling all day, so I couldn't really find any faults there.
Before I go to Michael on it, are you done with Cincy? They were 0-2 last year, and everybody looked stupid once they wrote them off. Justin, are you done with Cincy?
Like, do I think they're done?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to write them off yet. They got 15 games left. It's really going to be up to Burrow and if his health improves and if they can kind of improve with him. They were 0-2 last year. They probably struggled a couple years ago early, and I think they made the championship 2 years in a row. So I'm not going to write them off yet. That'd be kind of silly.
What about you, Michael? Would you have anything the Ravens they need to fix, they need to work on?
Honestly, I do want to be able to contribute something, but after that game, I really can't. I really do believe it was. I'm gonna call it a monumental win. It was only week 2, but it did feel like a little bit of a monkey off the back. I don't know if you saw the shot of Harbaugh right afterwards. He was pumped up. That showed me how much it mattered to us. So I'm giving zero criticism. The offense was phenomenal. We have such upside with Monken with this new offensive philosophy. Defense is flying around. I mean, injuries could be like the only thing
Right.
thrown there, but I'm just really sorry. I was so on cloud 9, obviously with the Orioles after. We'll have plenty to complain about throughout the season. This game, we talked about it, Ryan. We had a lot of penalty luck early in there. Whatever else, ball went our way, but we took advantage. So
Yeah.
I'll have plenty negative or criticism going forward, but not today.
No, well, look, I think the thing that I'm most optimistic about is that they'll make a trade if they need to make a trade. They always seem to do that, whatever the hole is. I am not, again, don't want to be super negative, but nothing's really convinced me over these first 2 weeks that the offense, I do feel like the balls bounce their way in a lot of situations. Cincinnati, something seems off with them. I want to see it for a few more weeks. But the way football is set up is you just got to get the wins. So happy that they won. Hopefully they win again this week. There's a couple things that I wanted to throw at you guys. So Ravens, Colts, I think I touched on the Broncos, Dolphins game. We did some teasers. There's a couple games that I feel like the slate is not great. But from a gambling standpoint, and the NFL and football in itself is transactional. Like if you're not gambling on it, and they take away the violence. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day. It's like I get my violence fix in a different way now. So if I'm not gambling on football, then exactly what's pulling me in? The cultural aspect feels like it's changed because the players are always on different teams. And I know we're getting a little older, but it just feels like it meant more as a kid. And anyway, that being said, instead of saying, hey, what's your favorite game for this week? Gambling spots from a fantasy standpoint, outside of teasers, what jumps out? Because I want the main thing when people listen to us and we'll put the bets out there is, hey, not necessarily bet on these things, but we want to be on the record. I'm going to bring other people on. Everybody likes to be on the record for something. So the main thing I'm putting, the main thing I've taken away as a listener for the first few minutes that we've talked is you guys love the teasers. Justin's on the Ravens, Michael's on the Ravens. What else? Refresh my memory, but go over Justin. What else you have?
Yeah, I'll give you what else I have. I don't think me or Michael actually said we like the Ravens with the spread -8.
With the teaser. No, with the teaser.
Yeah, just teaser. And I do like the team total over. That's the one thing I do like. I think it's gonna be higher scoring than 44 and a half, like it suggests. But yes, I do have other games that I really like actually. There's two plus another one that's a like for me. So I really like the Packers this week. The Saints have not shown me anything, even though they're 2-0. I don't think their offense is clicking yet. Carr has been so. They played the Panthers and the Titans, who have pretty much no offense, no quarterback. I really like the Packers home opener, coming off a tough loss. I like what I've seen from Jordan Love. I think Green Bay gets the win, and I would suggest just doing the money line. If I were to bet it, don't mess with the 1.5. Just take -120.
Why is it only 1.5 then? You love it so much.
I mean, I think they're saying they're pretty even teams. I don't know. I don't know what spread is. Why it's 1.5. I would have thought it would be around 3, but I don't really care. I guess I'll just take the less juice on it. I like Green Bay.
You know, it's great because like everybody when they're selling something, everybody's got like a reason for like, hey, this algorithm told me this, and this is just like I don't necessarily know. Just Packers win by what 7-10. I guess if they
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
lead. So you like the Packers? Sorry for cutting you off. What else you like?
I like the Lions a lot. Um,
Where are they at?
I think it's the
Falcons.
same. It's the same thing. Like that first play is more anti Saints than loving the Packers. Even though I do like the Packers. I'm fading Atlanta. They're 2-0, 2 home games they've had. They didn't show
Only
much offense. I don't know how I wasn't really watching the end of the Green Bay game. I don't know how they won that game.
I was gonna say it's only three. To me, the Falcons are like a worse version of the Lions offensively. Like it
They don't
just
have a quarterback. The Lions do. The Lions
right.
can score. I don't see Atlanta keeping up with what Detroit's gonna put at them. That's one reason why I like Detroit. And Detroit, they had some late ugly turnovers against Seattle that I think they'll clean up. I mean, so even though I don't usually love Detroit as a favorite, I'm liking them in this spot this week, and it's only -3. So I would jump on that.
So put you on the record for those two, and then just to
Yep.
clarify, your favorite teas with the Ravens is what? Knock the Ravens down to 2.5 and do the Packers,
With the Rams and with the Steelers would probably be my two favorites.
Rams and Steelers. We talked about that both. Michael, why don't you start with the? You both said the Steelers. I think you said earlier you wanted to talk about that game. So start with that, and then what else you got?
Well, yeah, I'll definitely touch on what I like this week, but a couple things real quick. I don't need to get too into the math of it, but there actually is a really easy way you can calculate a spread for any game. Pretty much just based off of win totals. Someone again way smarter than me told me this, so won't get too into it, but for every 1 game difference in win totals, so you have a 9-win team versus an 8-win team, that's a 1 point spread on a neutral field. So New Orleans came into the year about a 9-win team, Green Bay 7.5. Shade the line 1.5 towards New Orleans, adjust for home field, voila, 1.5. It's just a fun way to do a quick little calculation in your head. I think it helps too, because you could be like, oh, I'll just get into this Pittsburgh Vegas game. If you just look at win totals, Pitt was steamed 8.5, 9. Vegas was steamed the opposite way, 7, 7 or 7.5, 7. I don't know how low it got. So this week, you're telling me Vegas is a 2.5, almost 3-point favorite against Pitt. I'm not buying that. I know after watching the Monday night game, no one's going to want to put their hard-earned dollars on Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett. I'm going to chalk that up to them just playing two insanely tough defenses the first 2 weeks in San Francisco and Cleveland. I think by the middle of the season or something, Cleveland's defense could be said in the same breath as a San Francisco, as a Dallas. Jim Schwartz came in as a new defensive coordinator, has them running crazy aggressive, downhill in your face. It's scary. So anyway, back to this Pittsburgh team. I just see them. There's zero stat reason why I like it. It's just more of a ugly taking them off an ugly game. Tomlin as an underdog. Don't love it, but I'll take the official play for Pitt.
I just know that if I bet against those stupid fucking towels on a Sunday night game when half the crowd will be Pittsburgh, that game they always, if you're a Ravens fan, they always win that game. Always win that game, and yeah. Anyway, all right. So you got the Steelers.
Steelers. I'm going to stay in that same game. Actually, Cleveland coming off of that performance. It honestly, now I'm going to talk down on Pittsburgh. It almost looked like a varsity versus JV. Cleveland could do whatever they wanted. Their only issue is Watson at quarterback. I don't know why, and no one is talking about that as being maybe one of the worst contracts in the league. Russell Wilson gets beat to death, but I don't know what Watson's done in this short 9 games. I mean, if he's not good now after a full offseason, he's never going to be.
I feel like
easiest person to root against in the entire world. I want him to get jacked up every hit.
I was gonna say, I feel like the word has to be out that like maybe we just don't cover Cleveland nationally as much. These television networks that have contracts, because yeah, he's terrible. But anyway, so okay,
I digress. Give me
like Cleveland, huh?
I like Cleveland because I think Tennessee had a great matchup last week. I think I alluded it to the Chargers. I thought they'd be able to move the ball, kind of go for score. I think this Cleveland defense is going to suffocate them to potentially single digits. If you're looking at maybe some team total unders, I would look at Tennessee's. Now, I can easily see a world where this is 16-13 in the fourth quarter. I'm like, why am I laying 3 points with Cleveland? I'm going to hit the money line, but for the official play, I would love to put it at -3. So those are my two plays. I like Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Justin, not that I want to shoot down what you were saying,
Hey,
but no, I have a couple of good tidbits from that game. Atlanta outgained Green Bay 446 to 224. Rushing yards about 200 to 100. Atlanta time of possession 36-24. I mean, they probably could have
What
won
was
that
Ritter's
game by more.
stats? Do you have Ritter's stats?
I do not in front of me. I mean, he was obviously not great, but Green
That's
Bay
what I'm thinking.
Green Bay even benefited with one turnover. So I was even more impressed from Atlanta's win when I dove a little bit into the box score. Seattle, Detroit, you're exactly right, Justin. Seattle benefited from all the turnovers. Detroit, good bounce back, but I think Atlanta's got enough juice to keep that close, if not win. I do
That's
like
fair.
Atlanta. Yeah, I do like Atlanta. I had them in the preseason as a future, so I'd love for them to steal this game. Detroit, not the best favorite, not making an official play, but just wanted to throw that tidbit. My last
No,
one,
yeah, it's good to discuss that.
official teaser: Saints up to 7.5, Jags down to 2.5.
Saints up to 7. And we'll put these on the site. I'll probably post it on Sunday for everybody. I'm still getting things organized. I appreciate you guys doing this. I know
It
you
was
guys,
fun.
Absolutely, yeah, it's fun talking about.
you guys do this all the time. As it, every day. So everybody's in more group chats than I can be in. I don't know if people listening, but like I hate being in so now the three of us have entered a group chat. It allows us to do this once a week. Hope everybody's going to benefit. Like I said, Michael's going to write for us from time to time. Definitely want some literature on the Wong theory. Is this what we're going with? Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
something I appreciate listening. I think people listening that something good happened with the Orioles.
Yeah, sorry, Justin.
Scored one.
What's
Gotta
the
get
score?
one more.
I won't ruin it.
All right, okay, don't ruin it. Let's hang up. All right, this was fun. Thanks, appreciate you guys. Everybody have a good night.
Get up.
And,
Oh, there it is, Michael. I knew it was coming. Tie game.
I'm way behind. Anyway, tie game, perfect. See you guys.
Go. See you guys. Good luck.